President of Uganda, Idi Amin, was considered one of the most tyrannical dictators of the 20th century. During his 8-year rule, he did nothing for his country, exterminating 300,000 people and squandering Uganda's entire budget on his own entertainment. The Ugandan leader, who loved awards, had custom-made elongated jackets to display various awards from World War II, which he acquired in large quantities from collectors. In addition, he appropriated grandiose titles that had no basis in reality. Ugandans learned that their leader suddenly became the Doctor of all sciences, the Conqueror of the British Empire, and the King of Scotland. After he fled the country, it became known that Amin enjoyed feasting on human flesh, with opponents, dissidents, and others who disagreed with him becoming his dinner. A massive refrigerator filled with body parts was found in his residence. In this video, we will discuss this president. Welcome to the Hustler channel and enjoy watching. The future bloody tyrant was born into a shepherd's family in a small hut in northwest Uganda. Idi Amin himself claimed that his mother was a nurse, but the local residents considered her a witch. Initially, his parents were Catholics, but later converted to Islam. Amin quickly surpassed his peers in physical strength, but he couldn't boast of intelligence or academic abilities. The dictator's opponents claimed that he never learned to read and write, leaving a fingerprint instead of a signature until the end of his life. At the age of 16, he, like his father, embraced Islam and joined the army. Initially, he worked as an assistant cook. According to his comrades, he was as strong as a bull and could single-handedly carry a daily ration for the entire unit. In the army, he learned boxing and rugby, which the British colonizers immediately appreciated. They liked it when Africans adopted their traditions and customs. Gradually, Amin rose through the ranks and became a corporal in the 4th Battalion of the King's African Rifles. He loved wearing the uniform, which fit him perfectly, and his army boots were always polished to perfection. His career took off in the 1950s when a guerrilla anti-colonial war began in the shadows. Amin was sent to assist the local authorities. His fearlessness bordering on madness and the cruelty with which he dealt with his enemies impressed the colonizers. He would beat Kenyans to death to save ammunition. His promotion in the service was rapid. The renowned soldier gradually gained the patronage of the country's prime minister, Milton Obote. Amin helped the head of government overthrow King Mutesa II. Obote rewarded him with a house, security, and a Cadillac car. Gratitude for the health enthusiast did not wait long. In January 1971, after waiting for Obote to go to Singapore, Idi Amin declared himself the new ruler of the country. This coup was practically bloodless. Monstrous terror began afterward, with the number of victims of the new regime exceeding 10,000 in the first few months alone. In total, over 300,000 Ugandans died during his rule. According to reports, soldiers couldn't dig graves fast enough, so the dictator ordered feeding the bodies to crocodiles to get rid of them. There were rumors that one of the first to be killed was the army chief of staff, Suleiman Hussein. Amin demanded that the military leader's head be brought to his house. Guards who escaped from the dictator later revealed that he enjoyed taking Hussein's head out of the refrigerator and talking to it. The new ruler enthusiastically set about reshaping the country according to his own vision. This particularly affected religion. At that time, Uganda had 50% Christians and only 10% Muslims. However, by the second year of his rule, Idi Amin severed all ties with Israel and declared the African state part of the Arab world. His closest friend became the Libyan dictator, Muammar Gaddafi. In addition to promoting Islam, he imposed a ban on women wearing miniskirts, trousers, and wigs, while allowing men to have an unlimited number of wives. Despite this, Amin hoped that investments would flow into Uganda's economy. He called himself a friend of Britain, and the British media hailed him as a staunch ally of the United Kingdom and a long-awaited African leader. In 1971 and 1972, Amin made official visits to London and Edinburgh. At the grand reception hosted by Queen Elizabeth II, attendees were surprised by the Ugandan leader's crude manners and his broken speech. However, all of this was overlooked as the dictator's charming smile helped smooth out the contradictions. The Ugandan leader feared conspiracies the most. Those who were even slightly suspected would be ruthlessly dealt with. Innocent passers-by were sometimes arrested. According to Ugandans, people could simply go out to buy bread and never return home. It was enough to make one careless glance, gesture, or be in a bad mood for the tyrant. He personally killed many people. The executions carried out by special forces on Amin's orders were also characterized by exceptional cruelty. People were tortured to death, sometimes buried alive. Occasionally, the killings were disguised as accidents. Relations with Western countries quickly deteriorated under the presidency of Uganda's Idi Amin. He heavily criticized Israel and formed a friendship with Muammar Gaddafi. The deportation of Asian expatriates, many of whom held British passports, also played a role. Amin lacked political tact and went to great lengths to emphasize his own greatness. At one event, he sat on a chair carried by English diplomats. In 1977, the United Kingdom severed diplomatic relations with Uganda and recalled its diplomats from the country. One of the dictator's peculiarities was his sympathy for Scotland and its people. Idi Amin admired Scotland's history, particularly its struggles for independence. This may be due to Uganda's long history as a British colony. The president even ordered the formation of a musical group that performed Scottish music. He sent musicians to Scotland to learn to play the bagpipes. The group often appeared at official events, with its members dressed in traditional Scottish attire. As Amin's military strength grew, he began considering territorial expansions. In 1976, he claimed that South Sudan and the western part of Kenya historically belonged to Uganda. In 1978, Amin's troops invaded Tanzanian territory. By this time, the president had lost a significant portion of his supporters. Some were executed, while others fled. The military conflict ended with a counteroffensive by Tanzanian forces and Amin's escape to Saudi Arabia, where he remained until the end of his life. Over his 8 years in power, Idi Amin brought the country to such a state that he became practically unchallenged. However, the opposition managed to mobilize some forces and create the Front for the National Liberation of Uganda. Additionally, many Ugandans sought refuge in neighboring Tanzania to escape the atrocities occurring in their country. As Tanzania struggled to accommodate the influx of refugees, they sent their troops to Uganda in 1979. Not wanting to face his fate, Amin gathered his belongings, took his family, and flew on a personal plane first to Libya to meet his friend Gaddafi, and then to Saudi Arabia. In the kingdom, he lived in a sort of exile. In the early 1980s, he suddenly planned to return home and attempt to regain power. However, in Jeddah, he was warned that he would not be allowed to return if he left. After some consideration, the tyrant decided to stay. In 2003, at the age of 78, Idi Amin died in a clinic in Riyadh from kidney failure. He was declared a national criminal in his homeland and prohibited from being buried in Uganda. And that was the story of dictator Idi Amin. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and watch other videos. Also, consider supporting the channel on Patreon. This was Hustler. Until we meet again.